you're a professional active trader. You operate in the short term, the intermediate term sometimes. So your forte is not long-term, prognosticating of markets. So why do you come out with an annual, long-term 2014 type prediction?
Well, it's good to have a roadmap, which I call it, or it's good to have a plan. And since everyone that participates in the market has a different time frame, I try to give a big plan so then we could actually make it into smaller sizes depending on time frames. So not everyone has the same amount of time to allocate to the market, and everyone's looking for different things. Some just want to know where potentially we can go, what might be the best sectors, where the best stocks might be, how much volatility do you expect. So when I do a thesis for the year, I'm just going over my general thoughts, trying to think about what could happen this year. So this way people could have a plan as well and have, and kind of coordinate their thinking with mine, and then break it down to a lot of if-thens. If this happens, then I'll do that. If that happens, then I'll do this. So this way, the plan's in place, and once the market confirms it, you're able to navigate it. And again, what I try and do is I try and find some of the best stocks and the best sectors that have the best setups that could actually be something that you could put in the drawer, which I've said in the past, or something you could hold, and then hopefully, you learn a little bit about how to have a process so you can navigate it. So, you don't have to trade every single day, but at least you could book some money along the way and control your risk just in case volatility does pick up.
So you've become a very trusted voice, I think, for a lot of people. As a market commentator, you have almost 20,000 followers on Twitter. We were talking about earlier. I think you're about a dozen away from 20,000.
Where are the balloons? You have the balloons coming down in here soon?
Yeah, we need to have streamers and everything. But people trust you, and they trust your voice. But like we said, you operate more in the short, intermediate term. So when we come out with something like a 2014 outlook or 2014 predictions, whatever you want to call it, is this something that people should just run and buy whatever stock that you list on that outlook? Or if you say the S&P is going higher, should they go out and just load into an S&P fund? Or how should they take what we give them with this 2014 outlook and apply it?
Well, they have to see what their own risk parameters are, what their time frame is, and how it fits into their financial health. This year was an unusual year. I think we put out 6, 7 things, and most of them exceeded our expectations and met the targets within the first, second quarter. And you probably could have made more money if you just bought them and didn't trade it and navigate it the way we tried to do it.
How do you adjust in a situation like that? So we talked about, we followed up on your 2013 thesis a little bit during the year. We said targets have been hit. Is that you close up shop, you go to the beach for 7 months, or do you adjust your time frame?
Go train for another Ironman.
You train for another Ironman. There you go. But do you adjust your time frame, your approach, adjust your targets? How do you, with big gains in the first few months of the year, how do you adjust your process?
Well, you're always making adjustments because the market's always going to, do something a little bit different than you thought. So if your expectations were met, you make some new expectations, some realistic ones. You don't get overly giddy. You don't change your thought process. You might just watch it a little closer. So if you recall in the first quarter, we talked about like the 8 and the 21-day moving average, which are shorter term moving averages for the active and intermediate trend files to follow. Whereas if that trend changed, then you put one foot out the door instead of having both feet in the door. So there are a lot of different types of tactics and a lot of different types of tools you have in your tool belt. So stick with the trend. Just because my objective was met, it doesn't mean it's the end-all objective. The market's always going to do what it wants to do. You just have to make sure you navigate it correctly with a plan and don't get ahead of yourselves.